Good morning. It's Thursday morning. Today is Maundy Thursday. This is up till today we've been kind of setting the pace and setting the stage for what's going to happen tonight and tomorrow and then on Easter Sunday. Much of Holy Week is about getting us ready for the next 48 to 72 hours, and then of course Easter. But today is Maundy Thursday. We're going to have a Maundy Thursday service tonight at St. Matthew's. I'd invite you to join with us. You can learn more on our website. You can join us at 6 p.m. tonight in the sanctuary, or you can stream it online at stm-umc.org/live. It'll be on Facebook Live as well. It'll be on a lot of places. So I would invite you to worship with us in person tonight, or worship with us online as we really talk about what happens on Maundy Thursday. Maundy is basically taken from an anglicized version of the word command. Mandatory is kind of the word that flows from this. It's basically from the Latin meaning command. Why is this command? Why is this command Thursday, if you will? Well, we're going to read from from John 13. I'm not going to read all of it, but we see in John 13, first off, verses 1 through 20, give us Jesus washing the disciples' feet. Then we see in verse 21 through 30, they're taking the meal, communion. And he foretells his betrayal. But then I want to read to you verses 31 through 35, where Jesus says this. When he had gone out, he meaning Judas, when he had gone out, Jesus says, "Now the Son of Man has been glorified, and God's been glorified in him. If God has been glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and will glorify him at once. Little children, I'm with you a little while longer. You will look for me as I have said to the Jews, so I say to you now. Where I'm going, you cannot come. I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you should love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." That is the command that is emphasized in the Maundy part of the title of this day, Maundy Thursday, the day when Jesus gives us a new command. So on this day, when we look at what happens at the Passover meal, at the meal, we see Jesus wash the disciples' feet. We see him wash their feet, and in any context, that's a humbling act. I've never been part of a foot washing service. I've watched them from afar, but I've never washed my feet or had my feet washed. But from friends of mine that have participated in this type of service, they will tell you it is a humbling thing to be part of a foot washing service. Not humbling necessarily to wash someone's feet, which is a humbling act, but to have someone wash your feet is an incredibly uncomfortable act in some ways. Jesus strips down to his undergarment and washes the feet of the disciples as an act of a servant. This is a task so far beneath Jesus, who is the head of the disciples, who is looked to by many, even those who don't understand what's happening, looked to as the Messiah. This is not the way it works in that culture. This is not the way. We live in an age of servant leadership where leaders are supposed to serve, and that's a sign of character and all these type things, which is true. Well, Jesus is the first one to ever really demonstrate servant leadership in this way. He served. He serves. And then in that, he sets for the disciples the agenda for what they should do. He said, you've seen me do this, then you are to do the same. You are to do the same. You're to serve each other as I've served you. Your greatness will not come from what the world thinks of as greatness. That's not where your greatness comes from. Your greatness will come from your service. So we see that. Then we see him let them know that someone's going to betray him and they don't believe it. And then we see the new commandment. That new command. Oh, and of course, during the forecast of the betrayal, he gives communion. And so I think it's significant that one of the very last acts he does with his disciples is that he has a meal with them. Of all the things you could do, he gives a meal. He gives a meal and he says, "Do this, remember it to me." Every time we partake of communion, we remember the sacrifice of Jesus. We remember his resurrection. We remember what he has done for us. Every time we take communion, we remember what Jesus did. And we remember that we're loved. Because the cross and the resurrection lead us to our being loved. You can't see the cross and you can't see the resurrection apart from you understanding that you are loved. Because Christ did this for you and Christ rose for you. So every time you're invited to the table, you're invited to know that you are loved. You're loved. You're loved. And then he leaves us with this new command. I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you should love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. Let's sit with that for a little bit. What do folks know about us? Do folks know our political stances? Do folks know our theological positions? Or do folks know our love? He doesn't say they will know you're my disciples by the way you mimic this world. He doesn't say they will know you're my disciples by the way you defeat your enemies. He doesn't say they will know you're my disciples by the power you accrue. He doesn't say they will know you're my disciples by how right you are. It says they will know you're my disciples by your love for each other. And I think when the Lord looked at all the things, all the laundry list of things that he can and probably will judge this world for, he probably can and will judge his church for, he probably can and will judge me for my lack of love, our lack of love. We're pretty high on that list. They will know you're my disciples by your love. And by the way, they will know you're my disciples if you have love for one another. Let's just go insular. Let's talk about each other as Christians. Let's just forget the world for a second. Because we're supposed to love the world as well, because even if we regard the world as our enemy, Jesus tells us that we're to love our enemies. So we don't have an out from loving the world or loving people who aren't Christians or loving others. But let's put that off to the side for a second. Let's just say he's speaking to us as Christians. Let's say he's speaking to us as Christians. Do we love each other? Do we really love each other as Jesus tells us to? As Jesus commands us to? He tells us that they will know you are my disciples by your love for each other. Well, that's our mission today. It's to love one another. I surrender my body to the flames, but have not love. I've gained nothing. Paul says in Corinthians 13, if I possess all wisdom and have all knowledge, speak the tongues of men and angels, but have not love, I'm a clashing gong or a clanging cymbal. It's patient and kind. It bears all things, it hopes all things, it endures all things. Love. Not an emotion. not warm fuzzies, but the desire to want what's best for others and to live your life as a way by accomplishing that goal. Now, I'm not saying we gotta like each other. We make everything about emotion. I'm not saying we gotta like each other. I'm saying we gotta love each other. Love is so much deeper than like. Like is fickle. Emotion's fickle. Love is deep. Love is what Jesus did for us on the cross. They will know you're my disciples by your love for each other. Those who I love, each of you watching this now or listening to this now, I love you. I do. My prayer is that my love for you and your love for me and our love for each other will show this entire world that we are Christ disciples and will be so inviting that the entire world will want to join us as we march to Zion. I do love you guys today. I'm praying for you this Maundy Thursday. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow morning for our Good Friday reflection. See you then. Have a great day.